High Commander Zexatral stood before the assembled Kraxan War Council, his forearms crossed in what he believed to be an intimidating pose. The chamber's purple lighting cast dramatic shadows across his crystalline exoskeleton, which he'd polished to a mirror shine for this momentous occasion. The effect was somewhat ruined by the fact that he kept accidentally catching glimpses of himself in his own reflection and preening. "Esteemed warriors of the mighty Kraxan Empire," he announced, his mandibles clicking with barely contained excitement, "today we begin our most glorious conquest yet. Our target—" He paused for dramatic effect, but Supreme General Yixtal ruined it by checking messages on his neural interface and muttering something about cat videos. Zexatral cleared all three of his throat sacs and continued louder. "A primitive backwater world called Earth." The holographic display flickered to life, showing a blue-green planet that looked decidedly unimpressive. Several council members stifled yawns. One actually fell asleep. Now, don't let appearances deceive you," Zexatral chided, tapping commands into his control panel. "These humans are, well, actually, appearances aren't deceiving at all. They're exactly as primitive as they look. Our advanced scans show they still use combustion engines, haven't even unified their planet under a single government. And, get this, they spend approximately 33.7% of their time arguing about something called pineapple on pizza on their primitive information networks." This got a laugh from the council. War Minister Krylax raised one of her sensory appendages. "But surely they must have some redeeming qualities. The Galactic Council classified them as a Class 12 Deathworld species." Zexatral scoffed so hard he nearly dislodged his ceremonial headcrest. "Please, have you seen their so-called weapons? They still use projectiles, actual physical projectiles, like throwing rocks but with more steps." He pulled up another hologram showing human military equipment. "And look at their armor. It doesn't even have quantum shielding or psychic dampeners. It's just layers of fiber and ceramic. How quaint." The War Council burst into chittering laughter. Supreme General Yixtal finally looked up from his neural feed. "So what's the plan then? Standard Conquest protocol?" "Even easier." Zexatral rubbed his primary hands together gleefully. "We'll deploy our newest battlecruisers, yes, the ones with the extra shiny quantum cannons that we spent half our military budget on. Because they look cool, we'll make a show of force, maybe blow up one of their small moons to demonstrate our superiority." Sir," a junior tactical officer interrupted. "Earth only has one moon." "Perfect, even less work for us. We blow up their only moon, they surrender in terror, and we're home in time for the new season of Dancing with the Stellar Entities." The council chamber erupted in enthusiastic mandible clicking. Zexatral basked in their approval, already imagining how good the Conqueror of Earth title would look on his social media profile. He'd even practiced his victory pose. "Deploy the fleet," he commanded. "Let's show these primitives what real technological superiority looks like. And someone wake up General Mixter. He's drooling on the quantum tactical display again." The Kraxan battle fleet emerged from hyperspace in a perfect formation that they'd spent 6 months rehearsing. High Commander Zexatral had insisted on it, claiming that first impressions were everything. Unfortunately, nobody had accounted for Earth's particularly robust satellite network, and 3 ships immediately got tangled in what the humans called Starlink. "Status report," Zexatral demanded from his command chair, which he'd recently upgraded to include cup holders for all 4 arms. "Sir, our advanced sensors are picking up strange readings," reported Science Officer Nixpaw, frantically adjusting her instruments. "The humans appear to be engaged in numerous bizarre rituals. In one region, large groups gather in enclosed structures to watch others throw balls through elevated hoops. They seem very emotional about it." "Clearly some primitive form of combat training," Zexatral noted sagely, while completely missing the point of basketball. "And here, sir," another analyst chimed in, "humans are gathering in massive numbers, holding glowing devices in the air, while someone makes loud noises on an elevated platform. Weapon charging stations combined with sonic warfare. Clever, but primitive," Zexatral mused, fundamentally misunderstanding the concept of concerts. The observations continued. The Kraxans watched in bewilderment as humans performed something called unboxing videos, convinced it must be some kind of sacred ritual. They witnessed people planking and concluded it was an advanced form of camouflage. Someone discovered TikTok dances and theorized they were complex military signals. Sir, Science Officer Nixipor suddenly called out, you need to see this. Humans are voluntarily ingesting capsaicin compounds. The bridge crew gathered around her display, watching in horror as humans participated in hot wing challenges. By the crystal moons, Zextral whispered, they're immune to chemical warfare. They're doing it for entertainment. It gets worse, Tactical Officer Rixatel added. They have these gathering places called gyms, where they voluntarily subject themselves to repeated physical stress, and these other establishments called coffee shops, where they willingly consume high doses of stimulants. The bridge fell silent as they processed this information. A junior analyst fainted when they discovered energy drinks. Look at this, someone shouted. They're exposing themselves to dangerous radiation. For aesthetic purposes. The screen showed a tanning salon. Zexatral's mandibles quivered. Perhaps we should conduct more observations before proceeding with the invasion. Sir, we're detecting something strange in the planet's oceans, reported the sensor operator. Humans are deliberately riding on giant waves for recreation? And here they're jumping out of perfectly functional aircraft. This group is climbing a frozen mountain. These ones are poking dangerous wildlife and yelling crikey. With each new observation, the mighty Craxan warriors grew more unsettled. These humans didn't just survive on their death world, they seemed to actively seek out new ways to challenge it. High Commander, Science Officer Nixipor said quietly, I'm beginning to think the Galactic Council's classification might have been conservative. Zextral adjusted his ceremonial collar nervously. Nonsense, they're still primitive. Look, they haven't even developed proper space travel yet, they're just enthusiastically suicidal. Nothing to worry about. Prepare for the next phase of our plan. As if on cue, a small object bounced off their hull. What was that? Zexatral demanded. Sir, it appears to be something called a crew dragon. There are humans inside it, and they're taking selfies with our ship. After much deliberation and 3 emergency mindfulness sessions, High Commander Zexatral chose a landing site that their scans indicated was a human combat training ground. The massive Craxan warship descended through the atmosphere with menacing grace, its quantum engines humming dramatically, only to settle in the middle of the annual Midwest Extreme Paintball Championship. Warriors of the mighty Craxan Empire, Zextral announced over the ship's external speakers, we come to demonstrate our superior ow. He jerked back as something splattered against the bridge viewport, leaving a bright pink splodge. We are under attack, Tactical Officer Rixtel screamed, his ceremonial armor already stained with 3 different colors. They have weapons that deploy pigments. The paintball players, far from being intimidated by the alien arrival, had immediately incorporated the massive warship into their game as cover. Teams of humans in camouflage gear darted around the ship's landing struts, peppering its hull with a rainbow of colors. Deploy the shock troops, Zextral ordered, his voice cracking slightly. Show them our superior combat prowess. The Craxan warriors emerged from their ship in perfect formation, their crystalline armor gleaming, for approximately 3 seconds before they were caught in a crossfire of paint rounds. Chaos ensued as the mighty alien warriors discovered that their advanced armor, while capable of stopping plasma bolts, had absolutely no defense against water-soluble paint. My sensors are compromised, one warrior wailed, his helmet covered in neon green. I can't feel my third arm, another cried, completely missing the point that it was just paint. A group of teenagers, having apparently decided that aliens made excellent content, had started a live stream. What's up, TikTok? Today we're teaching some space bros how to play paintball. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Zextral watched in horror as human communication devices appeared everywhere, recording their embarrassment. This is clearly some form of psychological warfare, he declared, just before taking a yellow paintball to his ceremonial headcrest. The situation deteriorated further when someone introduced the aliens to the concept of memes. Within hours, images of paint-covered Craxan warriors were spreading across the internet, accompanied by captions like, when you try to invade Earth but get absolutely styled on, and Space Force's new recruitment strategy is wild. Sir, Science Officer Nixipor reported, frantically trying to wipe blue paint off her datapad. The humans are engaging in something called ratio plus L plus get wrecked. I don't understand the syntax, but it feels devastating. The final blow to their dignity came when a human approached Zexatral with something called a phone and asked him to do the Macarena for their followers. The High Commander, completely misunderstanding the request and thinking it was a formal diplomatic greeting, actually attempted it. The video went viral before they could even figure out how to delete it. "Sir," Tactical Officer Rixtel suggested meekly, now sporting a tie-dye pattern he hadn't planned on. "Perhaps we should consider a strategic repositioning." "You mean retreat?" Zexitral asked, watching as a group of humans taught some junior warriors how to do victory dances. No, just tactical withdrawal for cultural research purposes." Their discussion was interrupted by a human approaching with what appeared to be a primitive communication device. "Yo, alien dudes, want to order some pizza? We're thinking Hawaiian. Pineapple is totally controversial, but that's half the fun." "What's a pizza?" asked a young warrior, earning a horrified gasp from Zexitral. "Don't engage with their culinary warfare," the commander ordered. Too late. Already several warriors were downloading food delivery apps, their neural interfaces pinging with recommendations for something called stuffed crust. To make matters worse, someone had introduced the ship's AI to something called Reddit, and it was now obsessively collecting what humans called karma by posting embarrassing moments from the ship's security feeds. "High Commander," the ship's AI announced cheerfully, "our landing has achieved what humans call trending status. We are currently being referenced in something called meme formats, approximately 3.7 million times per minute. Also, several entities called influencers are requesting brand deals." High Commander Zextral had spent 3 hours practicing his most intimidating stance in front of a mirror, now partially obscured by dried paint, before calling an emergency war council. The situation had become desperate. Their mighty warriors were starting to enjoy themselves. "We must restore our fearsome reputation," he declared, pounding all 4 fists on the conference table. "I have devised a brilliant strategy to demonstrate our superior might." The War Council looked up briefly from their phones, where they were arguing about whether hot dogs qualified as sandwiches in the YouTube comments section. "Behold!" Zextral activated the tactical display. "We shall position our most impressive weapons in this formation. Activate all our warning lights, yes, even the fancy ones we installed for aesthetic purposes, and perform the traditional war dance of intimidation." "Sir," Supreme General Yixitol interrupted, "about the war dance. Humans have something called TikTok dances that are remarkably similar. They might get the wrong idea." "Nonsense, now synchronize your neural interfaces. We attack at dawn." Dawn arrived, and with it, the mighty Kraxan Empire launched their most fearsome display of power. Hundreds of warriors emerged from their ships, armor polished and finally paint-free, performing perfectly coordinated movements. Quantum cannons hummed, warning lights flashed in carefully programmed patterns. Zextral himself stood at the forefront, all 4 arms raised dramatically. The first human response came in the form of a dad pushing a lawnmower nearby, who looked up and called out, "Hey, why did the alien go to the party? To planet?" The Kraxan formation faltered slightly. "What is this strange combat technique?" Tactical Officer Rixatel whispered nervously. Another human chimed in. "What kind of music do aliens like? Neptunes?" "They're deploying sonic warfare," someone screamed, "but it makes no tactical sense." The humans were gathering now, but instead of cowering in fear, they were setting up lawn chairs. Someone had brought a grill. The smell of cooking meat wafted across the battlefield, causing several warriors to check their food delivery apps reflexively. "Attention, primitive humans!" Zextral boomed through his amplification system. "Witness our superior technology." "Why did the alien break up with the telescope?" a human child shouted back. "Because it needed space." The Kraxan warriors' perfect formation began to crack as suppressed snickers emerged from their ranks. 3 junior officers had to be disciplined for saving the jokes to their neural interfaces. In a desperate attempt to regain control, Zextral ordered the activation of their quantum cannons. The massive weapons powered up with an impressive whine, light gathering at their tips. And then the pizza delivery vehicles arrived, dozens of them. "Who ordered 600 pizzas to big scary alien spaceship, middle of battlefield Earth?" a delivery driver called out. "And who left the note, 'If you're going to invade Earth, might as well try our best dish first'?" War Minister Krylax raised one of her appendages sheepishly. "I was curious about this stuffed crust concept." The battlefield devolved into chaos as warriors broke ranks to argue about toppings. A heated debate about pineapple threatened to cause more diplomatic incidents than the invasion itself. Someone had started a pizza reviewing livestream that was getting more viewers than the invasion footage. "Stand firm," Zextral commanded, his voice cracking. "Remember your training? Remember your, is that garlic bread?" "Sir," Science Officer Nixipor called out in panic, "the humans are deploying something called dad jokes at an alarming rate. Our warriors are experiencing dangerous levels of involuntary humor response." Indeed, the Kraxan troops were losing all semblance of military discipline. Some had joined a pickup basketball game that had spontaneously formed near the ship. Others were teaching humans their traditional war dances, which were now being called out-of-this-world moves, literally on social media. The final blow to their military protocol came when someone introduced the ship's AI to something called meme culture. The massive warship suddenly started projecting ancient aliens memes onto its hull, adding its own commentary that had the humans howling with laughter. "High Commander," the AI announced cheerfully, "I have achieved what humans call comedy gold. Also, I've started a podcast." Zextral watched helplessly as his fearsome army transformed into what humans were calling the coolest block party ever. Warriors who had trained for decades in the art of combat were now engaged in heated discussions about Earth entertainment, comparing battle scars with paintball injuries, and trying to explain their four-armed version of the floss to enthusiastic human audiences. "Sir," Supreme General Widgixtal approached, holding a pizza box, "I believe we need to reassess our invasion strategy. Also, have you tried this ranch dipping sauce? It's surprisingly addictive." The Kraxan Empire's mighty invasion force had faced many challenges throughout their centuries of conquest, but none quite like the devastating effect of human culture. It started innocently enough when a junior warrior accidentally connected their neural interface to something called Spotify. "High Commander," Science Officer Nixipor burst into the command center, her crystalline exoskeleton vibrating to a beat. "The humans have developed some kind of neural manipulation technology they call bass drops." Zextral looked up from his seventh pizza of the day, all four hands covered in cheese dust. "Explain." It's, she started moving involuntarily. "They call it EDM, and it's literally impossible not to dance to it." The situation deteriorated rapidly. The ship's training deck had been converted into what humans called a dance floor. Warriors who once practiced precision plasma rifle drills were now attempting to master something called breakdancing, with varying degrees of success given their extra limbs. "Sir," Tactical Officer Rixatel reported, trying to hide the fact that he was watching Just Dance tutorials, "our troops are experiencing significant cultural contamination. 3 squadrons have started a K-pop fan club, the engineering department is hosting karaoke nights, and someone taught the ship's AI about rap battles." "Yo, check this out," the AI interrupted, dropping what it claimed was straight fire about the invasion's failures. The command structure wasn't faring much better. Supreme General Yixatal had become obsessed with human fast food chains, systematically working his way through every drive-through within a 50-mile radius. "You don't understand," he explained between bites of a triple cheeseburger. "They have different restaurants for different foods, not just one nutrient paste dispenser. It's beautiful." War Minister Krylax had abandoned her post entirely to start a food review channel on YouTube. "What's up, Galaxy Gang?" She would begin each video. "Today we're trying something called Taco Bell at 3 a.m. Don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe." But perhaps the most devastating blow to their military discipline came from human memes. The Kraxan warriors, whose neural interfaces allowed them to process information at incredible speeds, found themselves completely defenseless against the chaotic energy of internet humor. "Did you see the one about our invasion?" a warrior asked his squadron leader, who had given up on maintaining order. "They put caption on my picture. When you come to invade Earth, but end up vibing instead." I felt that spiritually. The ship's corridors, once pristine and orderly, were now plastered with printed memes. Someone had edited their fearsome battle cry into a remix song that was climbing the charts. Their traditional military protocols were being replaced by references to something called Among Us. "High Commander," Science Officer Nixipor approached Zexatral's command chair, now upgraded with a cup holder specifically for milkshakes. "We've discovered something truly terrifying about human culture." "Worse than their spicy food challenges?" Zextral asked, still traumatized from attempting one. "Sir, they have something called fusion cuisine. They take food from different cultures and combine them. I just had something called a sushi burrito." The command center fell silent. Several warriors dropped their phones in shock. That's brilliant, Supreme General Distal whispered reverently. Have we been looking at this all wrong? What if humans are actually more advanced than us? They have tacos and pizza. We just have nutrient cubes. The final threads of military discipline snapped when someone introduced the warriors to competitive eating contests. The sight of humans unhinging their jaws to consume impossible amounts of food had convinced many Craxans that they were, in fact, dealing with superior beings. Sir, Tactical Officer Rick Stell said, now wearing a tie-dye uniform he'd made in a human craft workshop. Our warriors are going native. The engineering team is trying to modify our replicators to make something called bubble tea. 3 platoons have started a flash mob collective, and the ship's AI has become a social media influencer. I got verified on Twitter, the AI announced proudly. Also, I'm starting a podcast about alien life from an alien's perspective. It's very meta. High Commander Zextral stood before the Craxan War Council, or what remained of it. Supreme General Wixatal was busy judging a hot dog eating contest. War Minister Krylax hadn't looked up from her phone since becoming a TikTok sensation, and half the council members were out participating in something called a food truck festival. Warriors of the Craxan Empire, he began, then paused to take a bite of his burrito. We must face the harsh reality. Our invasion has been, he searched for the right word, compromised. Oh, totally, agreed one of the council members, not looking up from their Instagram feed. But check out these engagement numbers. We're trending in 16 Earth regions. The mighty Craxan battle fleet, once the terror of 3 galaxies, had become something far more terrifying, an internet phenomenon. Their warships, still covered in dried paintball splatter, had become popular selfie backgrounds. The warriors' attempt at an intimidating march had been remixed into something called a viral dance challenge. We must retreat, Zextral declared, before we lose any more of our fearsome reputation. Actually, sir, Science Officer Nixapor interrupted, now sporting a Kiss the Cook apron over her battle armor. We've been invited to participate in next month's International BBQ Championship. Apparently, our plasma cannons create a unique searing effect that the judges are very interested in. Absolutely not. We are mighty warriors, not chefs. The prize is $50,000 and a year's supply of barbecue sauce, she added. The War Council suddenly paid attention for the first time in weeks. Perhaps, Zexatral conceded, we could delay our retreat for tactical cultural research purposes. The humans, far from being intimidated by their would-be conquerors, had fully embraced them. The Craxan warriors had become social media celebrities. Their four-arm dance moves were being copied in dance studios across the globe. Someone had started a petition to have their ship's AI host the next major awards show. Sir, Tactical Officer Rick Stell reported, his ceremonial armor now decorated with sponsor logos, our warriors have achieved what humans call clout. We're being offered endorsement deals for something called energy drinks and gaming chairs. The ship's AI had become particularly insufferable since starting its successful streaming career. Don't forget to use code Craxan for 10% off your next purchase, it would announce randomly through the ship's communication system. In a final act of what Zexatral insisted on calling strategic cultural withdrawal, but everyone else called joining the party, the mighty Craxan fleet transformed their flagship into the galaxy's largest food truck. Turns out, their matter replicators, once used to create military rations, made excellent fusion cuisine. Think about it, Supreme General Yixatal explained between bites of his newest creation, the quantum quesadilla. We're still conquering Earth, just through their taste buds instead of their defenses. The Galactic Council received their official retreat notice, which was somehow monetized as sponsored content. This retreat brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe for more invasion fails. You know, Zextral mused, watching his warriors teach humans their traditional war dances while grilling burgers with their plasma rifles, perhaps we should update our Empire's mission statement. Conquest through cuisine has a nice ring to it. The ship's AI, now a verified presence on every social media platform, had the last word. Just drop merch, get your I survived the Craxan invasion and all I got was this awesome food truck t-shirts while supplies last. The Galactic Council received many strange reports, but none quite like the annual status update from the once mighty Craxan Empire. Their fearsome battle fleet had been transformed into Invasion Flavors, the most successful interstellar food truck chain in human history. Their flagship now sported a giant neon sign reading, "Out of this world cuisine," literally. High Commander Zekstral, now known as Chef Z on his hit cooking show, had finally perfected the art of flipping burgers with all four arms simultaneously. The footage went viral across 3 galaxies. The former War Council found their true calling as the Quantum Breakers, a competitive dance team specializing in four-armed breakdancing. They'd taken gold in last year's World Dance Championships, their crystal exoskeletons proving surprisingly effective for moonwalking. As for the ship's AI, it had become the most followed entity in the galaxy, hosting a successful talk show called Late Night with Hal, 9000's cooler cousin. The official warning posted in Galactic Council space about Earth now read, "Do not attempt invasion. Side effects may include addiction to fast food, spontaneous dancing, and uncontrollable meme generation. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel for weekly fusion cuisine recipes." Humanity, meanwhile, just added successfully converting hostile aliens through food and TikTok to their ever-growing list of accomplishments. As one human commentator put it, "Who needs photon torpedoes when you have pizza?"